Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. This is yeah. This is yeah. This is yeah. That's clear, no fear. Yeah. This is yeah. This is yeah. This is yeah. That's clear, no fear.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Webb Show. I am your host, Webb Pumpkin. I'm really looking forward to what we're going to be talking about today. I'm pretty excited about some of the news that's coming up. If you haven't heard, we're going to be talking a little bit, just in short news, a little bit about some things happening with the Microsoft pre-orders and just sales in general, a little bit about the new SSD expansion option for the PS5, or what we at least think is going to be the expansion option for it. And on top of all that, also maybe news of an actual Nintendo Switch Pro? I don't know. All this and more today in the episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. Guys, as a reminder, if you're watching here live on Twitch, I'm not going to be nearly as interactive with the chats as I normally am in just say a normal stream. However, I will be reading them as we go along, and I would love to answer any questions or know about the content and the thoughts that you're having while we talk about it. And you never know, I might actually read one out loud and we'll discuss that a little bit. No guests today. I'm expecting this to perhaps be a little bit of a shorter podcast in comparison to last week. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. So, first thing on the list, just in quick news, Ninja has returned to Twitch, which I find really fascinating considering I honestly thought that there were going to be bridges that were burned with Ninja ever since he moved to Mixer. For those of you who don't know, I don't know what rock you were living under if you don't know, but Ninja and Shroud actually both accepted deals with Microsoft to stream exclusively on Mixer when Mixer was still around. Well, as we of course know right now, Mixer is no longer around, and they actually were offered pretty sizable amounts of money to continue their contract with Mixer, but on Facebook Gaming, both Ninja and Shroud actually turned it down. And speculation is there. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I think Ninja was offered almost twice as much as his contract with Mixer to stay on Facebook, which is sizable because I'm pretty sure that he walked away with somewhere around 30 million US dollars. So that means that Facebook offered him somewhere right at 60 million, which is absurd. But anyway, he's back here on Twitch. So if you want to go check him out, hang out with him and enjoy his content, he's right here. You can totally do so. Super Mario 3D All-Stars did launch this week, and from what I can tell and based on the sales, it's been a pretty big success. I think it's awesome. I would love to know if you guys that are listening have picked it up or have plans to pick it up. You can definitely follow me on my socials, primarily Instagram and Twitter at Webby Pumpkin. I'd love to hear about it there. And let me know that you came over from the podcast as well. From what I've seen, though, it's really good. Honestly, the gameplay is a bit smoother than I expected it to be because essentially these games are just ports. We talked about it in the last episode that there's not really a lot that's being offered with these games. But people are really liking them, and apparently, especially for Mario Galaxy, it's been a pretty smooth transition. The Joy-Cons work really well with movement, whereas that game was originally designed on the Wii, and you had like an IR sensor that you had to use, so you had to hold the controller just right to make sure it worked. It really worked very well for the Switch, so I haven't picked up a copy yet because life just kind of got crazy, but I do plan on trying to get my hands on a copy, and then I'll have a better idea of exactly what's going on. Mid-roll ads have started here on Twitch. You may even experience one in the podcast you're watching right now if you're watching live. I'm not really sure. So far, they haven't seemed to cause any of the streamers that I've spoken with or heard from all that much of a problem. However, I do know of a few streamers who have actually turned off their affiliateship in order to avoid them, and they're pointing people towards their PayPal links and other direct forms of donation. I would like to say, if you do enjoy the content that a creator is making, especially a streamer, and they have like a tipping page or a PayPal or something set up so that you can tip them directly, not a lot of people realize this, but your contribution they'll get like 100%, depending on if they're like PayPal or something charges them a fee. they'll get on nearly 100% of those proceeds. So the best way to financially support your favorite content creators or streamers is actually to donate directly. I know in my stream I have a couple different ways to do it, but the easiest way is to type !tip into the chat, and then it'll give you a link where you're able to donate. And actually, in most cases, I think it's cooler than in tipping bits or cheering bits, because you actually are able to pop up on the screen and everything during a normal stream. So it's really cool. If you're planning to do that right now during the podcast, it doesn't pop up. All alerts and everything are off. However, if you're ever in my stream normally, that's a great way to do it. And I recommend content creators that are listening that don't have something like that set up, do that. It may never get used, but it's really nice to have the option so that people who enjoy your content can do that. And on that topic with bots and chats, Facebook has rolled out a built-in chat bot. Right now, it's only available for partners, but hopefully it will be available for Level Up very soon. I think that's so needed. I know that there's efforts for Mix It Up and other bots to try to get on Facebook, but as of right now, to the best of my knowledge at the time of recording, I don't think there's really a solid option for Facebook or streaming on Facebook. So right now, best way to do it is to wait if you're leveled up. But if you're partner, right from the creator dashboard, it's built in right there, and you can set up all of the commands and everything that you want, which is really cool. Okay, on to our big news of the day. We're going to start with all things Microsoft and Xbox. Microsoft bought Bethesda, and that might mean some really interesting things for you Game Pass subscribers. Currently, Game Pass has actually grown in the last 5 months from around 10 million subscribers to right at 15 million subscribers, which means they grew 5 million subscribers in 5 months. And it's really interesting because we already see this direction that Microsoft or Xbox is taking to try to really put their eggs in the subscriber basket. They're selling cheaper versions of their consoles with the Series S as a very, very affordable entry point into the next gen of consoles. But honestly, for all the power that you get, even the Xbox Series X is not that expensive. It's a really, really great deal for all of the hardware and specs that you're getting there. I think it's awesome. But they're estimating somewhere between 100 and 2 million subscribers for Game Pass. That's their hope. And that pretty much would, yeah, they may not win the sales, like the console selling war between them and PlayStation. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not really a proponent for the war, but we can't argue the fact that these two consoles are definitely competing with one another. Why would they not? But still, they may not sell the most consoles, but if they could get 100 to 200 million Game Pass subscriptions, that really is going to pay the bills. That's going to line the pockets just right for Microsoft, and they'll have nothing to worry about. And they may be buying some more studios. You better watch out for that. So with the purchase of Bethesda, that means that we're probably going to see Skyrim on Game Pass, as well as a lot of other games. But since they're hunting more studios to purchase, I'm expecting us to see lots and lots of great options for first-party exclusive games on Microsoft, or loosely exclusive. You might be able to play them on PC as well, especially considering Game Pass pushes the Play Anywhere model so much. But not only that, with xCloud coming on, this may have broken through like the third wall, if you will, of gaming, where now you could play Skyrim not only on the new Xbox, or not only on the Xbox you currently have or the new Xbox, but on your phone or on your smart TV. Shoot, maybe even on your smart refrigerator. Who knows? You could do that. As a reminder to anyone watching live right now, also at me in the comments if you have something specifically you want me to see. Be sure to at me so it pops up for me. Xbox One X sales. There was a tweet this week from Andrew Alerts that said Xbox One X sales rank up 747% on Amazon. Wonder how many people bought an Xbox One X instead of a Series X. That's really interesting, and it caused a lot of people some concern and some alarm, because they're like, oh my gosh, they must accidentally have purchased the One X, or there's grandmas and grandpas and parents out there who are thinking they're buying a Series X, but they really bought an Xbox One X. Daniel Amadi actually tweeted and gave a little bit of clarity on that. He said, this is his quote: since I've seen this reported on a bit, 747% refers to the sales rank increase, not the increase in actual unit sales. Amazon is weird like that. Number two, the console has been discontinued. This is talking about the Xbox One X, not the Series X, and has discontinued in its name. And then number three, the name may confuse some, but it's a minor issue. Spawnwave over on YouTube had this to say, that he believes that it's only about 2 to 4 more Xbox One X's that were actually purchased, but that was so many more than have been being purchased that it was enough to inflate the numbers. It's possible that a few people did buy it by mistake, thinking that it was a Series X, but more than likely that's not the case. He and I both agree on this. What I personally hope that it is that these scammers and markup resellers have bots set up on Amazon and different websites to buy Series X as soon as it comes available so that they can mark it up and resell it later. I actually hope that a bot bought them because it was programmed incorrectly and it just saw that Xbox and then X in there, and it bought a ton. So I'm really honestly hoping that price gougers are going to have a surprise coming their way when they open up that box, because they've been delivered an Xbox One X instead of a Series X. I think that's great. And maybe those people bought it on purpose. I mean, at this point, the console has been discontinued. So to have a factory sealed, unopened, mint condition Xbox One X is technically a collector's item at this point. Now, albeit not really all that rare or worth a whole lot now, but at some point, an unopened box, I believe, could have the potential to be worth a little bit of money, or even if it's just something that's an interest that you have as a hobby, it could be pretty cool. So maybe it was an intentionally done thing. We'll come back to pre-orders and other orders for the Xbox in just a second, but we do have a little more information on the Series X and the Series S share button. So a lot of us, when the share button came out as the button that's in the middle of the new Xbox controller, I know myself included, I actually expected the share button to be kind of like a stream to Mixer quick button. Obviously, that had to change a little bit because Mixer no longer is supported and in existence, but what we have seen to be the case is that it's going to work a little bit like the Nintendo Switch kind of model for a capture button, if you will, where if you press it once, you take a screenshot. If you press and you hold the button, you actually record, I guess, a preset number, whether that be 5, 10, 15 seconds, however long ago you want it. You can change in your settings, but you record the last thing that just happened. Super, super simple, and then it's going to upload. It doesn't open like a crazy extra menu or anything, but something that is interesting is that Xbox is releasing a companion app that will allow you to share your captures and your captures and your videos and everything that you take easily from your phone with the companion app right to your favorite social media, whether that be Twitter or Facebook. I don't know if it's going to work with TikTok, but we'll see. But hey, TikTok is still here, so I'm happy about that in the US. Whatever place you want to share it, you can do that. You also, I'm sure, will be able to send them through SMS messaging as well as iMessage, just pretty much wherever you want it. Copy it, download it. It's going to be a really, really easy way to bring gaming and our love of gaming as creators and even as just hobbyists and enthusiasts to the people that we do life with, that we love and we enjoy. So pretty simple and straightforward, like the Switch. The Switch also lets you send things directly to like Twitter and Facebook, I think is the other one that's built into it. So we're going to see something pretty much like that, which makes me excited. I think it's going to make it really, really easy. The only problem is I wish as a streamer that my own video of me would actually be in that content that I share also. But on the fly or for casual gaming on the weekend or whenever I'm not streaming, it'll be a really, really great way to be able to share content with the people that you love, that we love, and with our communities. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm sure you'll be able to send it through the Xbox ecosystem to one another as well. Xbox pre-orders. Oh my goodness, was this an amazing display of chaos. So pre-orders, as you know, went up about 2 days ago at the time of recording, and immediately websites wouldn't load and were crashing, and people were having a really hard time trying to get their hands on a pre-order of either Series S or Series X. They had a really, really hard time. Even people who went to a physical store, so they show up at GameStop or Best Buy, but specifically GameStop, they go there, and these physical areas, these physical locations, these brick and mortars, actually did not have enough Xboxes allotted to them for what was the demand to come. That happened with GameStop specifically. People came in and there were people tweeting and everything about how like 30 plus people would show up at a GameStop, but that GameStop only had like 8 to 10 like actual Xboxes that you could pre-order. How that was an oversight that took place, honestly, I just don't really understand, because we've known about now since the Xbox price announcement through the leak, and then Microsoft coming out on Twitter and saying we've known about the price for both consoles as well as the pre-order date and the release date for a little while now. These retailers had to have known that it was coming. How could they not like plan? How do you not plan to be able to support this influx of traffic? Now I get it. Servers can only handle so much, but how could you not plan to have this influx of traffic on your website? But even more than that, how can you not have it physically? You don't even have to have the Xbox there. These physical locations are taking pre-orders to be able to give you the Xbox later. How do you I just can't wrap my mind around how you possibly sell out of something that you don't actually have to have in person to give to people right then anyway. How do you sell out of that? I don't understand it. We have a comment here that says, "That Webby Pumpkin, how much is the Xbox? Both of them, how much?" It's $299 USD for the Xbox Series S, and it is $499 USD for the Series X. That's what they're both launching at. Series X is going to have twice the storage of the Series S, and the Series S is going to be digital only. So there's some things to factor in, but that also kind of explain that dramatic price difference. The Series S, phenomenal price point for entry into this gen of consoles, in my opinion. However, I also feel like not really that worth it. If you say you already have an Xbox One X, I can't justify getting an S. I could see upgrading to an X, but if you have an Xbox One S or X, specifically an Xbox One X already, Webby Pumpkin can't recommend that you get this Xbox at launch. I don't think there's any real reason to do that. Wait a little bit, see if one goes on sale, and get it then. Still upgrade, because the SSDs are going to be nice. It is going to be faster than what you currently have, but you could play everything technically still on that One X. I think wait until prices come down just a little bit, or if you can get one, on sale a little bit later. Speedy says that Webby Pumpkin, those SSD prices for the Xbox are crazy high. Yes, they are. Absolutely insane. All right, so back to the pre-orders though. So since so many physical locations were actually selling out, and we even saw sellouts and crashes and all kinds of crazy things happening on websites, but I'm talking like crazy, like stores that you wouldn't expect. Now, Best Buy waited a little bit before they announced their pre-orders, and they've had issues too, but I think it was wise to wait just a little bit. Walmart and Target actually launched immediately. They were not prepared for the traffic, and they got knocked out. So it's not even just stores like GameStop. Amazon waited a little while too, but everybody was just swamped by this amazing demand for the Xbox Series S and X. However, right after all that was happening and everything, people couldn't get their hands on their new Xbox pre-order. We already saw resellers throwing them on eBay and other markets on the internet for prices all the way up to $775 to $900 USD dollars for an Xbox Series X. That's absolutely ridiculous to pay twice the amount for a Series X. Guys, if you come across one of those listings and you're concerned about being able to get a Series X for yourself or a Series S, please do not purchase a marked up Xbox from anywhere. Xbox had this to say on Twitter later. They said, "We are humbled by the record-breaking demand for Xbox Series X and S. Huge thanks to everyone for the excitement. If you weren't successful today, be sure to sign up with retailers for updates and expect more consoles to be available on November 10th. Do not buy a marked up console. You can't get it till November 10th anyway. There's no reason to rush or hurry or spend that extra money, especially when Xbox is promising there are going to be more. Maybe you're going to have to fight the crowds a little bit and go out into town and actually get your own get your own Xbox, like put your hands on it, go to the counter and pay for it. That might be something you have to do. I suspect that it'd be even crazier considering, COVID and the climate and the pandemic and everything that's going on right now. But please, please do not pay these market prices for this console. It's really just not worth it at all. Speaking of marked up prices, though, we'll go ahead and jump right on ahead. If you're not worried about this Xbox stuff at all, that's completely fine. Now it's time for us to talk a little bit about the PlayStation 5, which is actually what I plan on getting myself. Super excited about that. In short, quick news about the PS5. We have what we're expecting to be probably the first SSD that is going to be supported by Sony. Now, PS5 is going to be launching with an 825 gigabyte SSD standard. Just out of the box, that's what you're getting with your PS5. That's a pretty good bit of storage, but I think all of us, especially if you're planning on getting the all-digital version of the PS5, a lot of us are already expecting that to be probably not enough, especially games that are on our current gen of current gen of consoles can get a little big. Just Modern Warzone, or Modern Warzone, that's not a real thing. Just Call of Duty Warzone alone is over 100 gigabytes. Absolutely massive game. So we're probably going to fill that 825 gigabyte up pretty fast with all the detail and the beauty of these upcoming games. So I know we're probably all going to want to expand that storage. And here's one of the options for you to do it. Samsung has released their first PCIe 4.0 NVMe drive that is compatible, or should be by specs, compatible with the Sony PlayStation 5. It's the Samsung 980 Pro. And you can actually get it in 3 sizes currently, though most of us are probably going to spring for the 1 terabyte. But let me tell you some of these prices. So it comes in 250 gigabyte, 500 gigabyte, 1 terabyte, and then they have announced that later this year they will be releasing a 2 terabyte option, which is what I would like to pick up. But listen to this. $89.99, so right at $90 for the 250 gigabyte one. A price increase to $150 or $149.99 USD for 500 gig. And I think most of us are probably going to jump for that 1 terabyte, if not waiting for the 2 terabyte later. I'm going to try to wait for the 2 terabyte myself. $299.99. So you're looking at spending $230 US dollars for a 1 terabyte drive. Now, the beauty is, it technically should give you all the performance that you expect. It should be plenty fast. It has read speeds of up to 7,000 megabits per second and write speeds up to 5,000 megabytes per second. So, I mean, it's blazingly fast. Now, for all you PC gamers and everything that are out there as well, anybody that has an NVMe drive or slot, good news. This SSD will also work on your computer. So, if you're looking for a faster option for your SSD, or maybe an extra SSD with your PC. If you're looking to maybe increase the storage of what you currently have as your boot SSD, maybe you're looking for that 1, or later this year that 2 terabyte option. This is technically going to be compatible with your PC. You may see some improved functionality with it. So it's not a PlayStation exclusive type thing. It's not. I don't want you guys to think that this drive is only going to work on PlayStation. That's just simply not true. It just happens to be that this is the one that I'm expecting to be first on the list for compatible, without losing any performance, compatible with the PS5. All right, so we have a comment here. Firelord55 says in the chat, wait, so the 1 terabyte for Xbox is cheaper since it's $219.99? Yes, that is correct. It would be right at $10 American cheaper. However, it's kind of different technology. So this is from Samsung. If I'm not mistaken, the Xbox 1 terabyte makes me think of an old school memory card, but the 1 terabyte drive for Xbox, I think they have a deal with Seagate. So it's Seagate that they're putting those out with. Seagate does have a tendency, as a company in general, to be a bit cheaper than Samsung. So it doesn't surprise me that we're seeing that price difference at all. I think that's completely reasonable. But yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts. Definitely hit me up on Twitter, Instagram. Let me know what you're thinking there. Or if you're watching live, hit it up in the chat. If you're watching later, social media is a great option to get in touch with me. If you guys are listening on the podcast later, I'd love to know what you think about that. And maybe we can talk about that a little bit later too, because there's so much insurance. Like for me there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the drives that are going to be compatible for PS5. Sony has not yet released an official list of drives that are going to be compatible, which is really what I'm waiting for. I'm very eager to see just what our options are and our price points are, because the last thing I want to do is go spend, if I get the 2 TB, the last thing I want to go is go spend $300 for something, get it home, try to put it in my PlayStation. Maybe it fits, maybe everything works and everything, but then it's not compatible, or it doesn't format correctly, or it won't read or write at the speed that I need it to. And then I have to go try to return that, but it's open, so I can't really no. That's not something that I want to have to deal with. I don't want any of you guys to have to deal with that. Just keep waiting. Just keep watching. Maybe the prices will come down a little bit. Sony has to announce these. They have to announce what's going to be compatible. I can't see how they would not be able to do that or would not choose to do that. And then finally, in last bit of news, do we possibly see an opening for the Nintendo Switch Pro? I'm not certain. But let me tell you what we found out this week. So a Switch Pro listing actually did show up on a rather large online retail store. And at first thought, I'm like, oh, I've never heard of this thing. The store, I don't think that there's anything really to this. It's probably just hogwash. We don't care. No, it's actually a pretty real thing. So a large online retailer, it's called Media Mart. I'd never heard of it myself, but doing a little bit of research, this is what I was able to find out about it through a screenshot from Nintendo Life, where they got a little information. MediaMarkt is a multinational retailing giant that operates across Europe. Their mention of a Switch Pro have been spotted on its the mention of a Switch Pro has been spotted on its Polish website and can be seen when searching for Switch consoles, games, and accessories. There aren't any Switch Pro consoles to buy, of course, because there's nothing released or anything, but it does serve as a heading for Switch sections of the site. And that, like I said, that source is from Nintendo Life. They actually were able to get a screenshot of it where you could see the Switch Pro section. Now, let's be real. Would, even if it's large, would a mass retailer, a huge retail option, even online, actually know anything about a Switch Pro or if a Switch Pro was coming? In all honesty, in my opinion, probably not. It's really not that uncommon for us to see or know leaks or different information about games, specifically consoles, well before they're announced on any type of retail or market or anything like that. So the fact that we would only be finding out about this, or we would be finding about this first through a listing or a potential category option on an online retailer, really is unlikely. What I think is probably the case is that because of all the rumors and everything of a Nintendo Switch Pro that have been going on literally as long as I've been streaming and have been creating content like this, I've been hearing about the potential for a Switch Pro. We thought we were going to see like a Switch. I mean, we did see a Switch Lite. That's ended up being what it was called, but like a lesser Switch, and then like a Switch Pro this last year. Turns out we did get a Switch Lite that is handheld only, that is a little bit cheaper, that cannot be docked, and it has everything built in, and there's no Joy-Cons, that detach or anything like that. We did see a cheaper option, and it was even called the Switch Lite. We did see that happen, so, there was some truth there. And later, we did see another Nintendo Switch get launched. What I have affectionately began calling the Nintendo Switch version 2. But all we really saw was a different color box. So it's a red box instead of a white box. It's got a little bit better battery life. It has a potentially more color accurate screen. Aside from that, not really a whole lot changed. It is still dockable. It still plays all the same games at exactly the same resolution and frame rate. You're just getting a little bit better battery life. And if I'm not mistaken, the only reason you get a better battery life is because it has a slightly better processor or a chip in it, which is allowing it to be more efficient. However, that is the one that I picked up, and I'm grateful for it because I was able to play a lot more of Breath of the Wild on my battery than some of my friends. So that was really cool. I spent a lot of time on Breath of the Wild there. So we have a question here in the chat as well. At Webby Pumpkin, did Xbox say what SSD or USB memory will be compatible with their system. As far as I'm aware right now, Firelord, any external 3.0 or USB 3.0 or higher, I'm sure USB-C would probably be supported as well, hard drive or SSD will be compatible with the Xbox. However, if you would like to get the maximum speed, the maximum performance, you do have to go with that Seagate memory card drive that they are selling. That's Xbox branded. It slides direct. I could be wrong, but it slides directly into the back of the Xbox, right into the motherboard, and it gives you like an immediate direct connection. Um, I think that is the only one that is supported to actually slide into the unit. However, you can use any external hard drive over USB through one of the USB 3.0 or higher ports on the Xbox. I actually don't remember. Let me look. I don't actually remember off the top of my head if there are any USB-C ports on the Xbox Series X. I'm going to look right now real quick. I don't remember seeing it. Let's look at some images real quick and get a little lookity look. And it would appear that it does not. Oh, is that right? Wait, maybe there's one in the front. Nope. So no USB-C ports on the Xbox Series X, which is interesting considering the new controllers will be powered by USB-C as well as the Elite Series 2 controller being USB-C. But yeah, we have 3 USB 3.0s, 2 in the back, 1 in the front, Ethernet, power, HDMI, the slot for the expandable storage, and then a digital audio out. And that's all that we see on it. So yeah, any USB 3.0, so not USB-C, any USB 3.0 external hard drive will be supported with the Series X as an option for you to expand your storage or bring any games that you have over from your current Xbox, from what I'm understanding, to that new one. I don't think that it's going to be formatted differently. I could be wrong. I don't really know of a way for us to know that for sure without actually testing it. Okay, so back to Nintendo. Probably wouldn't know anything about a Nintendo Switch Pro. I do think it's just a category because of the rumors that they're just basically trying to do some maintenance to their site so that they have an option for Nintendo Switch Pro or that Nintendo Switch Pro category. But from what we're seeing, there's probably not going to be another Switch 2020. At the very earliest, I mean, it is kind of in the norm for Nintendo to try to release something else or a newer console. But if we look at what we've seen them do with the Nintendo DS, and then they had the DSi Lite, and then they had the DSi, then they had the what was it? Can't remember if it was the Nintendo DS XL or the Nintendo 3DS that came out next. But like we've always seen variations of the same thing kind of come out. We saw Game Boys and Game Boys Advanced, Game Boy Color, all these different versions of Game Boys. If anything at all, if we see something, we probably will see some type of new version of a Switch. Whether or not it will do the things that we hope to see, like have 4K resolution or 60 frames per second, 1080 in handheld mode, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It might have those things, but it also really wouldn't surprise me if it didn't. It wouldn't surprise me if it was just a bigger version. Like, oh, we have the Nintendo Switch XL, which will still fit in your current Nintendo Switch dock. It just has a bigger screen and it hangs out when it's docked. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I think that's completely reasonable and honestly a completely likely option for Nintendo. But yeah, I don't think we'll see anything until at the very earliest holiday 2021 or on into 2022. I do feel like if they haven't done anything by holiday 2021 or 2022, they'll probably have missed the mark and won't release a newer version of the Nintendo Switch at all. They'll probably move on to their next project. But this idea of handheld plus console is one I would be very surprised to see them move away from. I think it's one that is here to stay. I can't see it. I can't see it going away. It makes a lot of sense to me. Guys, if you're watching live right now, feel free to ask any questions in the chat. If you're listening back, I'm going to give it a second for that to happen. If you're listening back on the podcast, audio on demand, on Apple, Spotify, wherever you enjoy your podcast, feel free to follow me on Instagram at Webby Pumpkin, Twitter at Webby Pumpkin. It's at Webby Pumpkin everywhere except for it's actually that on YouTube too. The only spot is my link tree. It kept that, and then my merch store. It's at Webby Pumpkin 262 for both of those. I would love for you guys. If you're watching from the link to my podcast, you can actually there's buttons right there where you can go ahead and check out my social media from that point and connect with me. Send me a DM or tag me or retweet me. And guys, if you didn't know, I'm actually, for the remainder of this week, for the remainder of the month of September, I'm running a giveaway for a free Webby Pumpkin Spice t-shirt, as well as a $20 USD gift card to the gaming ecosystem of your choice. So what that means is that if you're an Xbox guy or gal, $20 Xbox gift card. If you're a Nintendo guy or gal, $20 Nintendo gift card. If you're a PlayStation guy or gal, you get the idea. Steam, Epic. If you want it in V-Bucks, sure. If you're the winner, let me know. There are tons of different ways for you to put in an entry. It's more than just one entry. You can put in an entry for following me on Twitch, on Facebook, checking out the Instagram. There are tons of amazing ways for you to do that, and you can find that link pinned on my Twitter or in the bio of my Facebook and my Instagram. Would love for you to check out there. And guys, if you didn't know already, I also do this thing on Twitch live at Webby Pumpkin, as well as on Facebook at fb.gg/WebbyPumpkin, where we stream video games every single weekend. We're a variety streamer. We have a lot of fun playing and talking about our favorite games and our favorite hobbies with you guys, and I would love for you guys to join the conversation. So if you're bored and you would like to hang out with me live in person, I would really, really love for you to check that out. All right, it looks like we have no extra comments in the chat, so that's going to wrap it up for us today. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Thank you so much for listening to The Webb Show. Again, I'm Webby Pumpkin, and I am honored that you would give me this amount of time, this amount of listening for you. Thank you all so much, and I will catch you guys on the very next episode.
Yeah. This is yeah. This is yeah. This is yeah. That's clear, no fear. Yeah. This is yeah. This is yeah. This is yeah. That's clear, no fear.